Are you ready to discover the real pickup truck villains? Get ready, because today we're going to reveal the 20 worst pickup truck engines ever made, each carrying a story of heartbreak and frustration on the roads. Imagine trusting an engine that lets you down before 200,000 kilometers. Come with us and discover the engines that became famous for their epic failures and for turning the promise of strength into a mechanical nightmare. Are you ready to see which engines make this list of the biggest automotive engineering disasters? Let's go. We start our list at number 20. Chevrolet 4.3 litro 5.6. Introduced in 1985, the Chevrolet 4.3 LV6 is a true classic, but don't let its simplicity fool you. Behind this engine hides a history of failures that many drivers prefer to forget. With a displacement of 4.3 L and V6 configuration, this engine has a cast iron block and aluminum heads. He could be a champion, but many call him a walking bomb for his weaknesses. Impressive but disappointing. Many drivers report that it rarely reaches 200,000 kilometers without experiencing major problems. Did you also have this experience with a Chevrolet engine? Interestingly, this engine was in General Motors vans and SUVs in the 90s. A true engine chameleon, but was it worth it? Check out the stories of those who had to deal with their failures. Number 19. Ford 4.0 LSOHC V6. The Ford 4.0 LSOHC V6 was launched with a promise of performance. But from the first spin, he showed that he was not up to the challenge. A real disappointment for engine lovers, and the problems began soon after its debut. With a V6 and 4.0L configuration, this engine only produced 160 horsepower. For many, this invites frustration. The power seemed ample, but the reality delivered much less than owners expected. Get ready, as many owners have reported serious failures after just 150,000 kilometers. These problems are not just irritating, they represent a real nightmare for anyone who relied on the engine for adventures and work. What's even more shocking? This engine was installed in several SUVs and vans, spreading like a plague. The criticism was fierce, and everywhere, he received the unworthy title of walking bomb by those who were dissatisfied. Number 18. Nissan 3.3 liters V6. The Nissan 3.3 LV6 was conceived during a time when Nissan needed to stand out in the pickup truck market. But did it really deliver what it promised? Or did it end up becoming a mechanical nightmare for drivers? With a displacement of 3.3 liters and 190 horsepower, this V6 seemed like an interesting option. However, its 12 volts configuration raised suspicions. An engine that was supposed to shine brought more headaches than power on the streets. Unfortunately, the durability of this engine left a lot to be desired. Reports of overheating were so frequent that many drivers were left on the road before even completing 150,000 kilometers. A real-time bomb. The Nissan Frontier, the brand's icon, was one of the models that used the dreaded 3.3 LV6. Owners who expected adventure and robustness were surprised with an engine that was more like a walking bomb. Number 17. Dodge 5.2 LV8. The Dodge 5.2 LV8, found in Dodge trucks in the 1990s, was a true mechanical nightmare. Drivers encountered a series of faults that made this machine a real walking bomb on the roads. With a displacement of 5.2 L and V8 configuration, this engine promised power, but only delivered problems. If you thought that 8 cylinders would guarantee reliability, you were very wrong. The problems with this engine became evident after 130,000 kilometers. With trucks abandoned in the workshops, many drivers have learned the hard way. Apparent strength does not mean durability. Some drivers even suspected that the Dodge 5.2 LV8 had a programmed useful life, as if Chrysler had decided that this engine should not exceed 100,000 miles. A true mechanical disaster. No número 16. Toyota 3.0 LV6 3VZ. The Toyota 3.0 LV6 engine, also known as 3VZ, is considered a true nightmare in terms of reliability. Especially in older models, this engine is the definition of trouble on the road. With its 3.0 liters displacement and 150 horsepower, it looks promising at first glance. But don't be fooled, its problems often overshadow even the most impressive performance numbers. If you thought 200,000 kilometers was a huge achievement, think again. Many drivers reported overheating and failures well before then. It's the kind of experience that makes you doubt your choice. This engine often bears the title of walking bomb, and not without reason. Its design flaws, especially in the cooling system, made it a terror among pickup truck lovers. Would you really want one of these? Number 15. Mazda 2.6 Li5. The Mazda 2.6 Li5 engine was used in pickups during the 1980s, and its fame is due to its short, useful life. This engine was unable to keep up with its competitors, leaving a trail of frustration on the roads. With an i5 configuration and 2.6L displacement, this engine promised performance. However, its promise turned into a nightmare for many drivers who expected more strength and reliability. After 100,000 kilometers, owners often faced the dreaded cylinder head failure. This problem was not only costly, it left drivers with no confidence in their pickups. Known for its excessive vibrations, driving a pickup equipped with this engine was like riding in a rodeo. The experience was uncomfortable, making many question their choice when purchasing. Number 14. Isuzu 28 litros diesel. The Isuzu 2.8L diesel engine was one of the most used, but its weakness left many drivers disappointed. It was like expecting a storm and only receiving a drizzle, frustrating and disappointing. With 2.8L displacement and a 4-cylinder i4 configuration, this engine promised performance. However, what it delivered was a trickle of power that many didn't expect. Who would have thought that expectations would go down the drain? After 150,000 kilometers, serious injection problems began to challenge even the most optimistic drivers. The dream of a durable engine turned into a nightmare in the blink of an eye. Reliability simply evaporated. Economy seemed to be his only virtue, but it was The Isuzu 2.8 liters was considered economical at first, but soon became a walking bomb when problems began to appear. A real disaster under the skin. At number 13, Chrysler 5.9 LV8. With high expectations, the Chrysler 5.9 LV8 engine began to be acclaimed, but ended up disappointing many drivers by not showing the promised reliability. A true paper tiger in the world of engines. With a displacement of 5.9L and a V8 configuration, this engine generated 245 horsepower. On paper, it looked powerful. In practice, it was a disappointment, proving that not everything that glitters is gold. This engine frequently had problems, including pollution, failures, and premature wear. It was so common to see owners complaining that it seemed like a never-ending ritual in auto repair shops. Due to constant complaints, Chrysler was forced to offer extended warranties. This strategy saved the brand's reputation, but it made many wonder, is this engine worth trusting? Number 12. Chevrolet 5.7 LV8 LT1. The Chevrolet 5.7 LV8, also known as the LT1, is an engine that was widely used, but was marked by its mechanical failures. Many drivers expected reliability, but ended up betrayed by the machine itself. With a powerful V8 configuration and an electronic injection system, the LT1 promised exciting performance, but was the enthusiasm worth the cost? Many have been disappointed along the way. Reports of serious problems began to emerge after 100,000 kilometers. Drivers asked themselves, is it worth the risk? Some ended up facing unexpected costs that devastated their budgets. Despite its flaws, the LT1 gained a loyal fan base. These power lovers still talk enthusiastically about the strength of this engine, even though they knew it wasn't exactly reliable. Who said love blinds? Number 11. Ford 5.4 L Triton V8. The Ford 5.4 L Triton V8 is one engine you don't want in your truck. Unfortunately, it became famous for failures that ruined the experience of many drivers who trusted the brand. With a displacement of 5.4L, the Triton V8 generates 300 horsepower, but don't let the power fool you. It has a history of problems that make many dreamers rethink their pickup truck choices. This engine is a true mechanical nightmare, with faults appearing even before 120,000 kilometers. Imagine having to deal with an engine that lets you down when you need it most. What frustration. Its cylinder head failures and oil-burning problems became legendary. The recalls, an unfortunate series of news that shook owners' confidence and tarnished Ford's image. Number 10. GM 8.1 LV8. The GM 8.1 LV8 was designed for big tasks, but disappointed in terms of reliability. Many drivers expected robust performance, but the engine often fell short when it was needed most. With 8.1 L of displacement and V8 configuration, this engine offered an impressive power of 340 horsepower. However, this adrenaline did not compensate for the failures that would follow, generating frustration for many. Unfortunately, behind the power and glamour, Serious problems with component failure arose before even reaching 150,000 kilometers. For many, this meant unexpected expenses and headaches on the road. Despite its flaws, the GM 8.1L is admired for its low RPM torque capability. This engine had the power to drag even the heaviest of trailers, leaving many to dream of its potential, even with its flaws. The Mazda 3.0 LV6 engine, known as the AJV6, was developed in the 1990s in a partnership between Mazda and Ford. Initially designed to offer a combination of power and efficiency, it was used in popular models such as the Mazda MPV and the Ford Escape. Despite its initial promise, reliability issues marked its trajectory, tarnishing its reputation over the years. With a 3.0-liter displacement, the V6 engine delivered around 200 horsepower. Depending on the configuration, it used single overhead camshaft SOHC or double overhead camshaft DOC technology, depending on the application. Its compact structure was made of aluminum, aiming to reduce weight, and featured electronic fuel injection, an innovation for its time. Durability issues included recurring oil leaks due to gasket failures, premature wear of internal components, and frequent overheating under severe use conditions. These factors led to high repair costs, making the engine less attractive to owners and mechanics. Interestingly, the AJV6 engine was also used in some Jaguar models, such as the X-Type, due to Ford's partnership with the British brand at the time. However, the same reliability issues were reported in these vehicles, contributing to their poor reputation in different markets. Number 9. Mazda 3.0 LV6. Number 8. Toyota 2.4 Li4. The Toyota 2.4 Li4 is one of the brand's least robust engines, facing serious challenges in adverse conditions. A real disappointment for pickup truck lovers, who expected more durability and resistance. With just 2.4 liters and configured as an IFA, its power is almost negligible compared to its competitors. For those who wanted a powerful engine, this was a real walking bomb on the road. Problems with overheating and failures are common before 100,000 kilometers. It's no surprise that this engine has generated so much frustration and headaches among pickup truck owners. Produced since the 80s, the legacy of this engine still lives on, but in a negative way. Over the years, owners have often looked back with disdain on their experiences with this troublesome engine. Number 7. Nissan 2.5 Li4. The Nissan 2.5 Li4 is famous for being weaker than the competition, leaving many drivers disappointed. After all, who wants a pickup truck that can't start hard? It's like an athlete who can't move. With a displacement of 2.5 liters and a power of just 154 horsepower, this engine is not hungry. It is clear that Nissan tried to save money, but the result left a lot to be desired, such as an engine that is not suitable for off-road use. Problems of structural failures appeared even before 120,000 kilometers. Imagine the frustration of seeing your pickup truck in the shop while your competitors were still on the road. This is what we call a mechanical disaster. Although it was seen as an economical choice, concerns about reliability were constant. Drivers asked themselves, is this pickup really worth it? The answer was often a huge no. Number 6. General Motors 2.2 Li4. The General Motors 2.2 Li4 is a classic example of a problematic engine that has left many owners in the lurch, resulting in a series of recalls. The negative reputation of this engine spread quickly, and for good reason. With a displacement of 2.2 liters and 4 cylinders, this engine seems harmless at first glance. But don't be fooled, it promised power and economy, but delivered more headaches than anything else. Problems began to emerge like a feast after the 100,000 kilometer mark. Suddenly, the confidence you had in your pickup turned into anxiety. Who wants their engine to let them down on the road? And it doesn't stop there. Many users have reported oil leaks before reaching the 80,000 kilometer mark. Imagine your pickup truck full of oil in the garage instead of being the star of the road. That's what we call a walking bomb. Number 5. Dodge 3.7 LV6. The Dodge 3.7 LV6 started out as a performance promise, but soon revealed itself to be a real trap. Worn-out engine and complaints kept coming, leaving owners frustrated and embarrassed. With a displacement of 3.7 L and a V6 configuration, the engine delivered 215 horsepower but was weaker than this, suggests. When driving, you notice the lack of power as soon as you start, making it a real challenge on the highways. Users have reported major component failures with less than 130,000 kilometers. Turning point. right? A supposedly robust engine that fails early on, leaving everyone scratching their heads. These driving problems did not go unnoticed. Dodge's reliability went down the drain, and the once beloved brand struggled to restore its reputation among drivers who expected more from its trucks. At number 4, Ford 6.0 liters Power Stroke. The Ford 6.0 liters Power Stroke went down in history as one of the most problematic diesel engines. Pickup truck owners often found themselves battling a succession of failures that turned what should have been a robust job into a mechanical nightmare. With a displacement of 6.0L and V8 configuration, the power of this engine left something to be desired, presenting an unstable performance that many drivers considered disappointing. It was like having a paper tiger under the hood. Most problems appeared even before 200,000 kilometers. Imagine losing confidence in your engine when it can't hold the throttle. For many, the 6.0L has become a symbol of frustration and bad luck. The problems with the head gasket were so serious that they led to a wave of lawsuits against Ford. Many went so far as to call the 6.0L a walking bomb, a title that still resonates with enthusiasts and owners today. Now, we come to our top 3 on our list. Chevrolet 6.5L Diesel. The Chevrolet 6.5 liters diesel was initially developed for trucks, promising power and durability. However, over the years, huge problems have revealed themselves, making many owners wish they had never made that choice. With a displacement of 6.5 liters and V8 configuration, this diesel engine looked promising. But as we'll see, it disappointed in performance and reliability, becoming a nightmare for drivers who expected more. Reports of cylinder head failures began to emerge with less than 120,000 kilometers. This engine, which should be robust, proved to be a real challenge for mechanics and caused widespread frustration among owners. Today, the 6.5L diesel is still cited as a notorious example of frustration in automobile engineering, an engine that started with great promise, but ended up becoming a symbol of disillusionment for many. At number 2, Dodge 8.0 LV10. The Dodge 8.0 LV10 looked promising, but it quickly became a nightmare for many drivers. This giant has often disappointed users with its dubious durability, turning dreams into frustrations and stories of broken highways. With a displacement of 8.0 liters and a V10 configuration that offered an impressive 400 horsepower, the engine had to be a legend. But, behind this facade of power, there were problems that many did not expect, causing him to be forgotten. Drivers despaired when faced with operating difficulties that arose even before reaching the 100,000 kilometer mark. For many, this engine has become a reminder that not all that glitters is gold on the roads. Although it was extremely powerful, its inefficiency and constant failures led to its discontinuation. Like a road tiger that ended up becoming a water cat, this engine showed that it's not just power that counts, but also reliability. And now, first on our list, GM 5.7L Diesel. The GM 5.7L Diesel is an engine that should never have seen the light of day, riddled with flaws that have frustrated drivers. It became a true mechanical nightmare marked by constant problems that only worsened over time. With a displacement of 5.7L and V8 configuration, this diesel engine, developed in the 1980s, looked promising, but what seemed like an innovation quickly turned out to be a potential disaster on American roads. Believe it or not, many owners couldn't get past 50,000 kilometers. With confidence-shattering intensity flaws, the 5.7L diesel became a heavyweight in the hearts of drivers who expected much more. Considered one of the biggest failures in automotive engineering, this engine triggered a series of recalls, leading to a legacy of shame for GM. The 5.7L diesel is a grim reminder of what can go wrong under the hood. And we've reached the end of our list of the 20 worst pickup truck engines ever made. True mechanical disasters that left many drivers frustrated. But now we want to hear from you. Which of these engines is your favorite? Or do you know of any other engines that should be on this list? Leave your opinion in the comments, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more incredible content like this. And don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss any news.